Okay, good evening everybody. Erev Tov. Let me get this camera straight, otherwise people will complain. Wow, it's a lot of people in our house. Thank you all for joining us. This is truly a wonderful way to prepare for Rosh Hashanah. No matter what happens with our meditation this evening, no matter what happens in our neshamas together, separately, our individual avodas, the fact that there's so many people who are coming, who are trying, who are yearning, who are trying to connect in a deep way, who are trying to open their hearts in a new way, that is very, very miyuchad, very special. And that itself means a lot to the Eibishter, to Hashem. And I believe with all my heart there's hashkacha, there's blessing that comes from that. There's a lot of people right now online, there's a lot of people, wow. So, I'm always surprised when people come, and I'm never surprised that people come. Because I know, when I was in yeshiva, if this would have been happening, I would have come, and I would have dragged basically everyone I know along as well. Because these are things that are needed, and too many people get to Rosh Hashanah and we have frustrated times. We read the words. Maybe we had 4 weeks to prepare for that. Maybe we just put the art scroll and hoped, the words would be enough to understand it. And I know I'm being judged for something. And I hope the year to come won't be as bad as last year. And we can sometimes feel pressured and frustrated and disappointed. And I wish there was time to go into depth about Rosh Hashanah itself, what the day meant, or what its relationship is to Yom Kippur, what its relationship is to Sukkot. It's all really one Koma Shalema, one Patzuf, one process. It's one process. It's not just happened to be, they didn't space out wisely enough all the festivals, and they kind of crammed them in to the calendar at one point. It's because it's one journey. Rosh Hashanah is the Rosh, Yom Kippur is the heart. Rosh Hashanah is the day of vision, of clarity, of who we are, what our neshama is. Yom Kippur is to take out the blocks that we have in our heart, that stop us from living with the power, with the energy, with the chiyus, to the purity, the tahara, to run into the world, to pursue that and eliminate the blocks, the self-sabotaging maniyas, blocks along the way. And Sukkot is living in that reality, allowing Hashem to dwell within us now and express that into the 6 dimensions. But of course, it's not really saying all the things that we have to say. I have a vision tonight, and it's a little experimental. I hope you've come for sure with an open heart, but you're also going to need an open mind, because we're going to try things that not everybody has done before. We're going to try things that some of you have seen in other religions, but hoping it's in the Jewish religion. We're going to try things that some people may be terrified to find is in the Jewish religion. Many of you have explored with some of these things. I'm going to try and put them together in a new way tonight. Hands up if you've been in one of our sessions so far this year. Okay, excellent. Hands up if this is your first time. Okay, excellent. So you'll be diving a little in the deep end. There's something that you may have on a piece of paper that you received initially. That's something we call the Elevation Hachana. The project is the Elevation Project, to take these authentic Torah teachings on consciousness and meditation and to share them with the whole world. And there's something that we call the Elevation Hachana. The Elevation Hachana is 9 steps of a preparation of consciousness that we do before we do a mitzvah. Sometimes people can say, I did a mitzvah, I didn't feel anything, I didn't see the light. Sometimes people can ask a question. I'm not saying this is a good question, a bad question. It's just some people ask the question, how is it that a person can be religious all their life, wear the costume, do the acts, and still not always do the nicest things, or still not all do the best things? It's possible, it happens. It's an okay question to ask. It's a reasonable question to ask. And our sages gave the answer for 3,000 years, and the Zohar gives an answer, and the Hasidic masters give an answer, the Balei Musa give an answer. It's all the same answer. That a mitzvah is just an action. But what makes an action potent or not potent, what, as the mystics say, gives that, the action is just a body. What gives it its soul, its spiritual transformational effect, is the intent we put behind it and the consciousness we are in when we do it. The consciousness that we do when we enter into a mitzvah is, you should know, also a mitzvah. There's the mitzvah of devekus, of connection to Hashem. That's also a mitzvah. There's the mitzvah of love and fear of God. That's also a mitzvah. There's a mitzvah of his kashrus, the tzaddikim, to connect to the souls of the great masters through history and allow their spiritual energy and consciousness to flood into us. That's also a mitzvah. So when people say, why is it that, can a person do mitzvahs and still have spiritual connection? Or why is a person do mitzvahs and not be transformed by the mitzvahs they do? The simple answer is because they're being highly selective in the mitzvahs they're doing. They're doing some physical mitzvahs, tangible actions, but they're not doing the mitzvahs of the heart, or the mitzvahs of the mind, or the mitzvahs of the soul. So before you do a mitzvah, all the Hasidic masters discuss, as we mentioned previously, something that was seen as controversial, but anyone thought it was controversial or thinks it's controversial, it's simply because they fundamentally misunderstand the statement that the Kedushas Levi and other Tzaddikim said, that the preparation for a mitzvah is more important than the mitzvah itself. How could that be? How could it be that the mitzvah, the divine will, is more important than all? That's obviously more important. How could you compare that to all the emotional stuff, the preparation for the mitzvah? And all the sages teach us that if a person is not in the right consciousness, the right state when they do a mitzvah, the open heart, the open soul, the presence of mind is much deeper than that, then the mitzvah is hardly a mitzvah. The effect of the mitzvah is hardly a mitzvah. So in elevation itself, we teach a 9-step preparation, but the core of that 9-step is 4 steps. And hands up if you've done some of the 4 steps within the last few weeks, either in person or online. Hands up if you've done that. Wonderful. So a lot of you are getting into it. Hands up if you're practicing that at home in some way in your life. Great. That's wonderful. Wow. I was impressed when students actually do things. Hands up if you've seen benefit from it in some way. That's awesome. Yay for us all. So if you were here last week, we upped the ante, and I taught you about his kashrus, and I taught you other things. So this is what we're going to do today. Number one, I'm going to give a little introduction about Rosh Hashanah. I'm not explaining about what the day is, but I'm explaining enough to give us context only for the activities, for the meditations we're going to do. All that I'm really interested in these sessions, as much as I love teaching Torah, and I'm so excited for you to hear the depth of Torah, the secrets behind the traditional external ideas we often see or exposed to. Everything I'm doing in this room is always the focus just to take you to a place in your conscious to experience those things. That's all that interests me. So if I'm teaching you an idea, I'm really teaching that because once we get into the state, I'm going to do something with that idea. So as a beginning, I need to give you a few minutes introduction to some themes of Rosh Hashanah. And with those themes, they will curtail, if that's even English, into specific avodas, specific techniques, specific explorations I want to do once we are prepared. And there's 3 themes we're going to look at. We're going to look at the theme of Aleinu Mishabeach. And what I mean by Aleinu Mishabeach is the idea is Bishvili Nivra Ha'olam. We're going to see that part of the day of Rosh Hashanah is that the whole world should open up their consciousness to acknowledge there's Hashem. And part of our job of Rosh Hashanah is to choose and will to awaken the world to that consciousness. So I'm going to explore an avoda, a technique of something we can do to experience that directly. Another thing we're going to explore, another avoda, is the avoda of the Shofar. There's very profound things that happen in Shofar. I've learned many sages, many teachings, many Kabbalistic intents, but in my heart and my mind, a few years ago, I was given a very big gift during the blowing of the shofar. I'm always taught I can feel being torn right now. Sometimes it's like it's wrong, I shouldn't speak it out, and sometimes I feel I must speak it out. Because I shouldn't speak it out because it sounds like Balgaiva, wow, something special is happening to me, and I'm a big tzaddik, which obviously I'm not. But my hunch is that if I spoke this out to you, that you'd be able to do this too. A lot of you would do this too. That we're all able to do these things. It's just sometimes you're gifted because it drops into your head. And then I repeat it each year and it kept happening. So I want to show you some of that. So there's going to be one thing we'll explore, which is that it's our job to bring light to the whole of the world in Rosh Hashanah. Another thing we'll explore is some powers of the shofar, some elements of the shofar. And what we're going to do is learn techniques to do that. We have a shofar blower in the house, and we're going to blow the shofar, but only when we're prepared. Otherwise, it's just another funny, strange sound to hear. And then 3, something I want to explore is just Kabbalas or Malchus Shemayim, saying the Shema in the deepest place. What it means to declare God's unity and the struggle around that. So we're going to talk about that. And then once we've discussed those themes, we're going to do the elevation Hachana. I'm going to talk you all through the 4 steps. Then I'm going to lift you up higher and higher. And when you're in that state, I'm going to talk you. We're going to add his kashrus like we did last week. We're going to add to be Mamshech Kedusha, which some of you were here on Monday night. How many of you were here on Monday night? You saw MPAS class. Some of you learned how to be Mamshech in a very strong way, to draw down light, to be Mamshech Devekus, to draw in Devekus, as we'll see. I'm just going to talk you through that. And when we're in that powerful place, in that profound place, then we're going to do these 3 avodas together, these 3 techniques together. Any questions before we begin? And I hope by the end there'll be a little time for questions. I hope by the end there'll be a little time for sharing. People are open to it. Okay. So this is what I want to tell you. 15 minutes just to discuss some themes. When we discuss themes and when you listen to the themes with your head and you feel them, you're open to them a little in your heart, what happens is they resonate to a very deep place in your shorish neshama, in your root soul. And it awakens ideas, patterns, imagery, sensations, a certain resonance that elevates to our keta, to our shorish neshama. And then for when we open up to that place, then suddenly we can be drawing in very deep things. So that's why before anyone begins an avoda, a technique, we always begin by learning Torah, because we're not just learning Torah, we're drawing certain deep ideas into our soul, so we're resonating with them. So when we open up to that place, they take us places. The Torah that we learn takes us places. The speech that we brought the Torah into, that creates a vibrational frequency and takes us places. I'm not here to teach you dogma. I'm not asking you to believe that. You will experience that for yourself very shortly. In Tehillim, there's a line that is quoted frequently in Rosh Hashanah, and the sages discuss Rosh Hashanah. If you're into page numbers, it's Tehillim number 81, Pei Aleph, begins on the line, Daled number 4. And there's so many secrets in this line, and I just want to share 3 core ideas with you about this day. Tiku b'chodesh shofar B'kesel yom chagenu ki chuik liYisrael hu mishpat le'elahei Yaakov. A rough, very rough basic translation. We should blow in the month shofar. In the month, it just says in the month. Which month do we blow the shofar? This is that moment for great audience participation. Tishrei, right? In the month, the first month of the year, the month that Rosh Hashanah is in on the Hebrew calendar. It's interesting, says the Baal HaTanya, it does not say which month, it just says b'chodesh, in the month. Why is Tishrei called the month? B'kesel liyom chagenu, b'kesel is frequently translated as in the time liyom chagenu, of the day of the festival. It's one way to translate that. Because this blowing of the shofar on this day is a law, is a choik, it's a very deep secret, it's a very deep thing that we have to do to Klal Yisrael, to the Jewish people. Of course, this class is for everybody, but there's a reason we say that in this context. Mishpat le'elahei Yaakov. Now, this line is very interesting. I'm not going to translate it literally. The reason I'm not going to translate it literally is because no one translates it literally. But if you were to translate it literally, it would be a shocking line. So I'm going to translate it like everybody else translate it. It's a day of judgment by God, the God of the Jewish people, to us. It's a day when we get judged by the God of the Jewish people. So I'm going to say that simply and easy. You ready? Blow in the month the shofar at the time of the day of that festival, Rosh Hashanah, because it is a law and a mechanism in reality to the Jewish people that it's a judgment day, and we are judged by the God of Jacob. You guys got that? We good? 3 questions. Why? Number 1, why the Chodesh Shofar? Why is it called Chodesh? Which month? If he's telling me to blow, which month? Why is Tishrei called Chodesh? Bekesel Yom Chagenu. The word Bekesel Yom Chagenu. The word Keser also means covered over and concealed. The day of Rosh Hashanah is a day that's covered over and concealed. Says Rav Nachman. And we have to talk about what's concealed about it. And finally, Mishpat le'elokei Yaakov. What's the literal translation of Mishpat le'elokei Yaakov? There's a judgment. Who's being judged? The God of Israel is being judged. God is being judged. See that little thing you did with your head there? That's why I get the big bucks. That's why we love teaching, because that now you're like, oh. Tiku b'chodesh shofar. The Balatanya says that what happens is, what's the judgment on? It's on the energy, the consciousness, the blessing, the shefa, the chiyas, the bracha, the abundance of influx, the influx of abundance, that consciousness, the energy, the blessing of physicality, of spirituality, everything that comes for the whole of the year comes on this day. And you are judged what is the spiritual influx of consciousness, of energy, of abundance, of blessing. Everything that will happen in the whole year is decided on this day at a specific time. We can talk about what times and when, but not right now. Every moment that you live, when you pray for success and not to pray for failure, when you pray for love and not for there to be pain, when you pray for shalom bayis, that the husband and wife should get along and not argue, pray for children because you feel it's hard to have children, you haven't had success there, you pray for your own children, you pray to make more money because you feel there's not enough money, you pray to have clarity about who you are in the world, you pray for physical health because you're dealing with sickness, and you want to know, is it going to come, is it going to come? How shocking, how extraordinary to know all of it was already determined and set in place months ago, weeks ago, already in Rosh Hashanah. The Balatanya says that the concept of chodesh comes from the root chidush. Chidush means hischadshus. It means there's a renewal of energy. Every month has a new energy influx, but all the months combined all source their energy from the month of Tishrei, from the first day. So this is how he describes it. Watch. He says, on this day of Chidush, of Chodesh, you receive, literally in a single moment, when the Shofar blows. When the Shofar blows, you receive an influx of consciousness and energy for the entire year. And what happens is, every month, that goes into the storehouse above, if you will, and every month, what happens in that month is given down, is mechalik, how do you say, is distributed, so to speak, is distributed from the storehouse of energy of consciousness into each month. So every Rosh Chodesh, you receive an influx into your consciousness, into your spiritual soul, into your root soul, of all the energy you get over that month. And every Shabbos, you get from the source of that whole month, you draw in from the Shabbos at the time of third meal, that energy is given to you for the whole of the week. And every Shacharis, why is Shacharis longer than the other prayers? Because then you draw down from the Shabbos the energy into that whole day. And the Mincha and the Mincha draws into the afternoon, and the Marav draws it into the evening. So it's Tuesday evening at, until 9 o'clock, and you really need that blessing of peace. You really need that blessing of money, and you really need that blessing of self-transformation because you've got that emotional block. and you're trying to meditate, but your mind is fuzzy and hazy and you're tired and you really wished you had that energy. So where did that energy come from? It came from Shabbos. If you would have opened it up on Shabbos, you could have got it. Where did that energy come from? The beginning of each week? That came from Rosh Chodesh. If you would have opened that up, you could have got it. Where did that energy come? The whole year, the Chiddush, the Hischadshus, the renewal of consciousness comes in at the first day of the year, the first and second day of the year, when the shofar blows. So, the first thing we need to know is all of the energy is given, is bestowed, is influxes when the shofar blows at the first of the month. And that's why it says, Tiku b'chodesh shofar. At the time of Chiddush, you should blow the shofar. Because at the time of Chiddush, that's the moment Hashem scans you and says, who are you and what is the blessing you deserve? What will be with you for the next 365 days? And at that moment, the shofar blows, and at that moment, the influx comes in, and it locks in. So that's why it's called Chodesh. The month, it's called, that's the month, because that month is not just another Chodesh, that month is Chiddush. It's the renewal, the new energy, the new influx will come in. And that's what we're judged on. That's the entire judgment. What will be with next year? What is the element of consciousness? So one of the things I always say that when we're misinformed in our Buddhist meditation experience is that the meditation, mindfulness is just a skill that when I practice and I the thoughts come up and I watch them and I'm aware of them, I practice, my mind gets better and better, the muscle gets stronger and stronger. Many people find it's not true. Sometimes they practice for months and years, and then someday they just can't do it at all. They just can't do it at all because it's more than just a muscle. There's also an energy flow. And if you increase that, it becomes much easier. Some beginners don't have that muscle and suddenly they can do it for no reason. Hands up if you had that before in your own life. And then they try again and it's hard. So all of the potential of that energy, our capacity to expand our mind is all determined at this moment of Chiddush. Number one. B'kasa liyom chagenu. Rav Nachman says very powerfully. The word kesa can mean time, but it also means covered over. This is the day of covered overness. What's covered over on Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah has one very unusual property which makes it different from all the other festivals, which is it's at the beginning of the month. It's not in the middle of the month. It's not later in the month. It's on the first day of the month. What's covered over on the first day of the month? The moon. There is no moon. It's concealed without going into the depth of it. The moon is the heart. The moon is the heart. Rosh Hashanah is the head. The sun is the light. The sun is the soul. The sun is the vision. The sun is the potential. And the sun shines into the world and we have clarity, we have vision. But at night, at the times of darkness, when the heart is open, when the moon is full, then the light of the mind can reflect into the world and the world is still light, relatively speaking. But when the moon is concealed, it's a time of darkness. When our heads and minds are strong and our heart is open, we live passionately, we live with clarity, we live willfully, we know who we are and what we want, and we're not afraid of anything. But the times when our heart is strong, and meaning not our heart is in our passion, but our heart is our fear and our lust and our ego and our sense of failure and our low self-esteem, it blocks out, so to speak. It's a total eclipse of the mind. Our mind can't get in. And we're in darkness. Rav Nachman says a very important point. Listen carefully. Rosh Hashanah is not about the heart. We don't bring up our sins on Rosh Hashanah. You don't bring up your sins. If you're going to a court case and you got a parking ticket and you didn't pay it, I'm saying that out loud because I realized I have a parking ticket and I didn't pay it. So lo aleinu or lo ale me. But this idea, if you're in the court case, right, and the judge looks at you and says, why didn't you pay this ticket? You say, I know I should have. And by the way, there's 15 other tickets I haven't paid. And, I also haven't got registered my house with the council. And you don't sit there and list all your issues. Yes, but I like to be open. I'm emotionally intelligent. I'm very much into, So the answer is, no, shut up, sit down. Yom Kippur is the day of so much love and compassion. So much love and compassion. So much light that you can throw everything out of the closet, all our darkness, all our pain, all our fear, all our failure, and Hashem will hold that and embrace that and release it. Rosh Hashanah is a day when you step above your heart, where Hashem says, I know you've messed up. I know you've made mistakes. I know you're disconnected. I get it. But can we just remember what we were building together? Can I just talk about the possible you? Can I talk about what you wanted to do in the world? Can I talk about all that I've given you as potential? Hashem says to you, if you are allowed to hit the reset button, what is it that you are living for, that you are breathing for, that you are fighting for? What would you like to be in the world? And Hashem says, if you make that pitch compelling, then on Yom Kippur, we'll wipe the slate clean together and start again. So Rosh Hashanah takes place at a time when we don't deal with the heart, because it's the Rosh, it's the consciousness, it's the vision, it's the Shorish Neshama. As the mystics say, there's two forms of tshuva, tshuva ila'a and tshuva tata'a. There's the lower form of tshuva, which I made that mistake on Tuesday at 4:15, and I did that dumb thing to that bad person in February, etc., etc. That's normal tshuva. But there's a higher level tshuva, and the higher level tshuva means return. It doesn't mean repentance, it means return. It means to return, to remember. Uri Yeshenim, wake up, you sleepers. You're sleeping in the world. What does it mean you're sleeping in the world? I don't mean you're sleeping in my class right now, which some of you are doing. That's not what I'm complaining about. We'll blow the shofar, we'll wake them all up. Hey, Ellie? What the idea is, joking, what the idea is, it means sleeping means we are living unconsciously. Sleeping means we've forgotten our true power, our true greatness, our true potential. So this is the day Hashem says, do tshuva ila'a. Forget about the little stuff. Forget about the details. Let's talk tachlis, Hashem says. Let's talk big picture. I want you to return and awaken to the full revelation of your soul in its infinite power, and not just sense of unity, but its infinite uniqueness. And I want you to experience that and remember that, and let's talk about that. We're not going to deal with the heart. That is covered over today. Sometimes I see with people, it's very interesting, I'm not complaining about anyone in this room. The people I often notice this with is not about these people in the room. They get into meditation and they get into self-development, and it's like they're very spiritual. They go to all these things, but all of their meditation and all of their self-development, Nebuch, is all focused on little things. I have this pain in my back, and I'm using all these techniques to heal the pain in my back. Or I have, this little emotional block, and I'm using all the techniques of the world to heal my emotional block. And if they could heal it, then they're done. Basically, that's it for them in spirituality. It goes so much deeper. Mindfulness, so you feel calmer and nicer about our mindless life, it goes so much deeper than that. So what we want is an elevator to the highest level of our consciousness. So that's why we don't deal with our problems, we don't deal with the issues, because it's amazing. Torah says, Hashem says to you, I know you've got junk, I know you messed up. Hashem's got a long list. He says, but you know what, I'm willing to say, let's go deeper than that. That's the second point. And the shofar does that. The shofar takes us deeper, as we're going to see. It's a judgment day for God. Basic level, God is going to judge us. Hashem is going to judge us. He's going to say, who are you? How focused are you? How awake and conscious are you? How aware of your life's purpose, your unique mission are you? And how dedicated are you to being unstoppable and to pursuing that, and never being broken or falling to your fear or your lust, your ego, to living with complete dedication, uncompromising dedication to your divine purpose in the world. And Hashem says, the more you are, the more I will give you all the resources necessary. That's the judgment, all the peace, all the shefa, all the bracha. It literally says, however, Mishpat la'elakei Yaakov. The judgment is on God. It's a mishpat. Who gets the mishpat? To Elokei Yaakov. The Maggid of Mezrich says, gorgeous, gorgeous Torah. The secret of the shofar. The secret of Rosh Hashanah. He says there's two parts of you. There's the part of you that's sitting in the room, trying to focus on the class, thinking about your Facebook account, that issue, that problem, your physical body, you're tired, you're hungry, you can't wait to deal with that issue, can't wait to get revenge on that person, can't wait to be frustrated, go to sleep. You're caught in this reality, this mundane reality of physical, earthly stuff. And sometimes you do something good, and sometimes you do something right, and some days you feel, yeah, I can do something holy, and some days you just feel stuck. I'm stuck again. Another program, another course, another therapy, another something, I'm stuck again. And that's us, it's the nefesh of Bahamas. But then we have a nefesh elokis, we have divinity within us, supernatural knowledge, wisdom, power, strength, clarity, higher forces, channeling, we can channel them into the world. That's the portion of divinity within us, an actual portion of God, he says. He says, if Rosh Hashanah comes and you sit there and just are brain dead, but you sit there and you try and do tshuva and all the little bits and pieces, you're still a person of bits and pieces. You're still a person of that mistake, that success, that failure, that trying to get over that, trying to work on that. You're still bits and pieces. You forgot about the infinite, wordless, detailless, infinite, unified, powerful light within you. He says, when you are about to be given the gift of chiyus, of blessing for the whole of the year, he says, don't receive it with your little hands, with your little mind, with your little tshuva, religious or not religious, all those things. He says, receive it from the highest will, the highest clarity, the highest light, the highest soul. Be in a state of divine, infinite consciousness. Do tshuva ila'ah. Return to yourself. Forget about the heart, forget about the details, forget about the pain, forget about the confusion. Go deep. Go to the tshuva, who am I? When they blow the shofar at the time of chiyus, the shofar means, the shofar is the property, it comes from the word mei shafir. Mei shafir means amniotic fluid. It's literally a rebirthing process. The shofar literally means you return to when Hashem blew his soul into you. What is a shofar? A human being, Adam and Rishon, is the shofar of God. He blew into us the divine soul. The Zohar says when a person blows into you, when they blow from the deepest essence within them. When Hashem blew into you and he gave you infinite soul, he gave the you from the biggest, deepest depth within you of infinite light. The Baal Tanya says, my friends, if at the moments of judgment, at the moment of influx, you do tshuva ila'ah, you return to the deepest sense of who you are, the deeper, highest, supernatural, meditational state of higher consciousness. Then at that moment, when God comes to judge you, is he judging the mundane you? Is he judging the animal you? Who's he judging? The divine you. And the divine you is God himself. So the judgment is now on God, meaning on the divinity, the infinite light within you. You hear that, Trevor? You hear that, my friends? As if you didn't get it still. Don't you say it again? As if you didn't get it, but you're too embarrassed to put up your hand and say it. One more time. If you blow, b'chodesh shofar, if you blow, the shofar is what awakens us up to return to that wordless, profound, yearning state of infinite light within us. At the time of Chiddush, at the time of revelation. Because on this day, when the moon, when the heart, we don't deal with those details. We don't go into our problems and our service and our body and our fixing that. That's Yom Kippur. It's a law, it's a secret, it's a mechanism for all of us that there's a mishpat la'elahei Yaakov. If you, at the moment of being judged, access your godly soul, then the judgment falls on the godness within you. And what will you be blessed with? Hashem will say, there's only divinity, there's only light. And from that, Hashem says, well, that deserves every abundance and every blessing, every goodness. The judgment on God is the judgment on the God in you, because you access divinity. So you will receive blessing as a divine being, as an angel. You all get that? You get that? Is that interesting? Is that nice? So on Rosh Hashanah, we need to go deep or go home. And by that I mean go deep or go home. It's both the same thing. We're going home to our tati, we're going home to our soul. And when we get to that home, we're going to take full responsibility. We're going to make full commitment from that place. You know, when my little body, I'm dealing with my little mind, my little heart, my little nefesh of Bahamas. I'm like, you know what? This year I'm going to try to daven every davening with a minyan. I'm going to try not to get so angry at my mother anymore. I have all these little things, and I feel a little holy because I committed to them. Of course, I'll break them within 2 days, but I felt very holy. Hashem's like, you can do better. Go big. Go home. And once you go big and go home, now you have to commit to all of those things as well. But you have to know why you're committing that. It's not because I have a halachic obligation. It's not because I may not even be religious, but I should do like candles or something. It's like, do you get the big picture? Do you get what we're bringing into the world? Do you get what you're trying to bring down? Don't get caught in the little stuff. Take responsibility for the little stuff, for sure. Take responsibility from that big place, but understand how the little stuff is an extension of the Rosh, of the vision, of the infinite soul. Questions? Yes.
Everything's packaged.
Loud as you can, sir. Yes.
Everything is packaged in that first moment.
Yes.
Which Shofar blow is the one where it all comes down? And if it's the first one, we haven't even got into the good stuff in this.
Right. Which Shofar blow is the one that comes down? Watch me and I'll wave to you when it's coming. Elliot, now. The Swarma Kadeshim says something very profound. Every individual actually has from after the night, and the night itself, the first night, all our energy and all our consciousness and everything we generated, good or bad, goes up for the whole of the year. And it's then process. And then from the morning time, the potential for judgment begins. It can be any time in the 2 days. And the Swarm that actually say Hashem, in His kindness with us, will choose our highest moment to judge you on. Remember, Hashem's out to judge you, but if He really wanted to judge you and get you, if you're a boss and you want to do a surprise inspection at work, you don't tell them when you're coming. You turn up at 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon when they're all slacking off, surfing the net, and you go, now I got you. Hashem gives you a whole year's notice. I'm turning up on this day. Get your act together. And then He tells you when it is. Now, it could be any time during that moment. It's usually when the shofar blows, but Hashem is working with you in that context. He's working with you. Remember, it's in Hashem's interest that you get yourself together and perform. He wants you to deliver. He'll give you many, many chances. He wants you to find that place. More than Hashem, as our sages teach us, more than He wants death to sinners. He wants you to have a life. He wants you to have connection. He wants you to have power and strength. He wants you to fulfill your awesome mission. He's willing to work with you 1,000 times over. Another question. Yes?
So you're talking a lot beautifully about the work of us as individuals and how we're meant to, get in touch with ourselves and our uniqueness. And
right.
And I was learning in another context about the shofar blowing specifically that in that moment that you shouldn't think about anything and you shouldn't think about yourself, and it's only being mamid Hashem. It's only thinking about Hashem.
So for every source you'll tell me, I'll show you another source that says something different. That's all.
Which is two different.
There's thousands of different approaches, and they're all good. There's there's many sources that will say, and we'll explore it, you should mamash do tshuva. At that moment when the shofar blows, the whole day is din, but the time of shofar blowing is rachamim, unbelievable compassion. It's a little Yom Kippur. At that moment you can actually throw up all your fears and lust and ego and all your failures, and it's a wonderful moment to release it. Another thing is because of the kol shofar, the kol is beyond pratim, it's beyond details. So it's a moment where you connect your shurish neshama. What you should do is everything. Do it all. Play, experiment.
How is this being mamid?
So again, not everything. So everything is being mamluk Hashem. All of Avodas Hashem you do is a form of that. But it's not one thing has to be everything. Everything can be something different. Try one vort, try another vort. Explore what works for you. Now listen very carefully. We're going to go deeper into this. There's 3 avodas that I want to show you now, and then we're going to do a halachana, and then we're going to do them. The avoda number 1 I want to focus on is Bishvili Nivra Ha'olam. That the whole world was created for me. For me, Doniel Katz, not you guys. It says Bishvili, it doesn't say Bishvilchem. This, of course, you're saying it, and I have a cash on what I just said. Bishvili Nivra Ha'olam means that if you understand the purpose of your life, is the entire world is not created for you, as in how Western man defines that, for my pleasure. I can consume what I want. I can trash the rivers, destroy the rainforests, destroy the environment, the ozone layer, because everything in the world, I can consume the animals, everything is for my pleasure. That's not what it means the world is created for me. It means the world is my responsibility. It means the opposite. In the Shoma Kadoshim, the holy works that they teach, that there's a difference between the first day and the second day. The first day is more about our inner spiritual world, our inner avodas Hashem, our spiritual capacity, our spiritual development, and the blessings that will come to us for that. And the second day we are judged more for our physical actions, the money we have, our success externally, our accomplishments externally. The nimis and the chitzonius. There's another way. The Balei Musa also say that the first day you are judged vis-a-vis your personal relationship with God. The second day you are judged vis-a-vis the contribution you make to the world. And without going into details, it's very profound to consider that a person, the rabbi told me this, it was very profound. It was a time in my life when I felt I was failing as an individual, but I seemed to be making success and making contribution to others. It was last week. And every week before. And the rabbi said, it was a few years ago, the rabbi said something very deep to me. He said, sometimes we learn a source on the inside together, and he said, sometimes a person is judged on the first day that they don't deserve life. Because who they are in the relationship to divine is they failed. But on the second day, Hashem realizes, becomes conscious of, that if they were to be taken out for themselves, there's many people they are giving to, there's many people they are loving, there's many people they're supporting, and that makes their existence justified for another year. Isn't that deep? So, to give Hashem Malchus, the singular goal, as we say many, many times throughout the prayers of Rosh Hashanah, but we say Aleinu, that is not just a personal thing. You're not just praying for you to get your act together. You're not just praying for help with that issue. Rosh Hashanah, we are standing before God and there's nobody else in the world. And we're supposed to pour out our heart and ask for all your needs and your most practical, detailed needs. Yes. But in the middle of the Musaf, in the highest time of the day, Hashem, Elokei, Lirois, Meheva, B'Seferes, Uzecha, La'avir, Gelalim, and Haaretz, V'Lalim, Karois, Yikoreson, L'Sakein, Oilam, B'Malchus, Shaddai, V'Chol B'nei Vasa, Yikru'u, V'Shimcha. Every person, every human being, doesn't say Jew, it says every human being, they will call to your great name and they will turn to you. Even the most destroyed and corrupted and lost souls in the world, that's what we want. And they will recognize you, and they will achieve their consciousness will open up to a direct experience of you. Kol Yoshvei Sevel, every individual in the world, every inner being will submit to you and open up to you and experience you and know you and feel awe to you. We say that many times. So part of our power on this day is to absolutely commit to a global mission. And to know that our role of Malchus, our role of being Hashem to the world is, am I so macrocosm focused on my life, and my issues, and my blocks, and my challenges? Am I forgetting the global picture? I may have little things in my life, and they are very important, and you need to pray to Hashem as well, on those days as well. But the little things must be an extension of what's the big picture. Why should Hashem get you shit up? So I don't want to be lonely. Being lonely is one thing. Hashem wants you not to be lonely. He wants you to be loved. But more than being loved, He wants you to be loved, to build a house and a home of love, to bring greatness into the world, to bring wonder into communities, to bring blessing to individuals. So what we're going to learn, and Asarim say, and we're going to practice a technique from the Commander tonight, a very profound technique, is we learn a little about his kashrus, binding of your mind, that you can bind your mind to influence things with your consciousness, and to both be influenced by and to influence out. Last week we learned how to bind our consciousness to the souls of great spiritual masters throughout history, and many people found that those souls then spoke to them and gave them answers and clarity. I've been speaking to people all week about blessings and insight they got from that. So we're going to learn how to bind our mind with others in the world, and not just people, not just Jews for sure, and not just non-Jews for sure, but animals and plant life, the whole of the world, that the land itself should have an energy to be able to receive, the capacity to receive revelation. And to learn how to affect people. We're going to explore a technique. Now, these things I could have literally seminars in each one, but we're just going to touch on them one at a time. I'm just giving you introductions so you can look back and listen to the recording and realize a little of the wondrous things we did. I did this a couple of days ago in a class of wonderful South African women, and we showed them that people could bind their consciousness with people in the room and heal them in real time. And people had blocks that they felt melted away when the room put their attention on them. We're going to do that a little, just to know that on this day, if you fix your mind in a place of devekis, of higher consciousness, after doing the hachana, and you fix it on an individual, and you draw down light, as I'll show you, with the power of his katris, of the connection mechanism of our mind, of our das, you will see that you can affect them on the spot. You have an obligation on the day to start doing that with people, with nations, with countries. That's one. That's what we're going to explore. And I'm just telling you now, so when we go into it, you'll get what I'm doing. The next is shofar. The first idea I want to explore, the shofar, is the idea simply of returning to your shorish neshama. That the Svaras say that the shofar is a kol pashat. A kol pashat means it's pure air, pure breath. Air is neshima, which means neshama. Which means there's no details, there's no information. It's not a half an hour Devar Torah with all information you have to remember. It's something higher, lamala minatam v'das, higher than logic, higher than intellect, higher than rationale. And you're supposed to learn to ride the wave of that sound all the way up to what's called your shorish neshama, the highest level root. And you can go higher through the olamis, you can go higher to something called Atzilus, you can go higher to the world called Bina, you go higher to the Aura Ein Sof that's coming in, and the shofar is blowing, Hashem is breathing energy into reality. And if you start on the bottom, and you can ride that wave up and higher, just by choosing to in a state of devekis. And another thing we're going to practice, I'm just going to talk to you when you're in that state, I'm going to talk you through, and we'll try one after another, and we'll see what results. We're going to practice a simple technique that Hashem showed me one shofar blowing a few years ago, which is to fix in my mind just the following intent. Hashem, when the shofar blows, whatever emotional, spiritual block that I have that I most need to get rid of, may it come to my consciousness. And when it comes to my consciousness, I'm going to just throw it into the light of compassion that's coming down on me and release it forever. Clear it out of my body, clear it out of my heart, clear it out of my mind, clear it out of my shorish neshama. And I got these incredible downloads of things I forgot 20 years ago, 30 years ago, of relationships, of experiences. They would come to me and I would release them and they just clean out. I bet you could do it too. Will it work tonight when it's not even Rosh Hashanah? I don't know, but let's play. Islam does, right? Let's give it a go. We have a little, very large shofar, probably larger than Rosh Hashanah, so maybe it reaches all the way to Rosh Hashanah and it'll draw down some of that shefa. There's two avodas. And finally, an avoda we're going to try. Kabbalah so Malchus Shemayim. That's the big commitment on the day. You may be religious. I don't know what that word means. You may be secular. I don't know what that word means either. You may be human. And the truth is, as sages teaches, that the purpose in this world is to take divine properties, divine revelation, and channel it through and to express into reality. And the whole game, and it's just a game, is do you get that? Are you committed to that? And committed to it doesn't mean, yeah, that sounds awesome, let's do it. Commitment to something always means that in the darkest hour can you remain committed to it. And Kabbalah's Ol Malchus Shemayim literally means to carry, to receive the burden and responsibility of manifesting divinity in the world. And you've got to know that as much as you may say in that deep meditation, yeah, bring it on, I want that light. When you come back down to earth, everything in your body says, that was a nice meditation anyway. Back to the status quo, which is anything but that. And all my habits and all my fears and all my physical energies, my tiredness and my sickness and my grumpiness, my taiva, gaiva, kina, and covet kicks in. And this is a one day, you don't go into the details of the heart, but you got to stand before God when the shofar blows and say, I absolutely say all of that is irrelevant and I push it aside, even if the sages say, imagine a gun to your head and you say, I'd rather take the bullet and die for the truth than live a life of falsehood. And when the shofar blows, Kabbalah's or Malchus Shemayim, you've got to be able to say, bring it on. Everything is gone. All that physical stuff, I get confused in life. I don't mean physical as in living responsibly and living life. There's no I mean physical. I mean the resistance to your soul, resistance to Hashem's revelation, resistance to the Ratzon Hashem. And you've got to stand there in the biggest moment. That's what all the sages teach. Right when the energy is going to come in, right when that blessing is going to come, Hashem says, are you really, really, really committed? And you go, yeah. I'm having a spiritual high. So for this 5 minutes, I'm totally committed. Hashem says, but what about Tuesday 4 months ago when you're alone in the gutter and you're going to say, yeah, no more of that. I'm fine. I'm going to commit. It's gone. It's down. It's over. I'm breaking that habit. I'm kicking that. Right, gone now. And you've got to say it, and what we say at that moment is Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. That's how we express Kabbalah's or Malchus Shemayim. That I declare that Hashem is one. What's the connection between responsibility? That means you can't say, I did this because what they did to me, because they were so bad and I'm such a victim. Because if everything's one, everything's from Hashem and there's no more excuses. And everything that tears you apart it's because of the desires, not because of the fears, it's not because I'm a victim, it's all Hashem, it's all light. And if I'm committed to saying that, at that moment, Kabbalah's or Malchus Shemayim, oil, ayin, Malchus, mem, Shemayim, shin, is the letter Shema. When I say Shema Yisrael, it means listen, it means hear, it means get it. All of us, a collective soul. That everything is God. Everything is God. And I'm committing to that. And nothing's going to make me sway from that ever at all. When Hashem says you get that, you commit to that on that level. When the shofar blows, you say that. Hashem says, okay, here it comes. So when we get into this place and we connect to each other and we pray for each other and we pray for the world and we connect to the world, and we do the avoda of finding our shurish neshama. We do the avoda of tshuva when the shofar blows, releasing things. And finally, we're going to blow the shofar, and we're all going to say together, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And at that moment, we're going to say any resistance I have, that block, that habit, that fear, that guilt trip I give myself, that narratives I tell to myself, I'm done with it, and I'm 100% rededicated, recommitted forever to the truth. And when Eli's going to blow the shofar, we're all going to say Shema together. That's what I had in mind for the evening. Unless someone has better plans, then we could. I'm very flexible. We'll just get a coffee somewhere, perhaps. The waffle bar is very nice. It's a syrup thing with an ice cream. I think there's got a discount, a group setting. Yes, sir.
So I've always thought of the shofar as basically crying. You know, when you cry, there's not just an outburst. Usually there's the and then you have the 10, and then you have the 9, and it comes out in spurts.
That's what I said you say.
It just breaks through.
That's what I said you say. Yes, sir.
So why is it that in most shuls there's not this emphasis on just go ahead and just be raw, just go for it?
I don't know what that means. I've never heard a shul that recommend anyone hold back.
To just I think basically like there's such magnificence in what you're saying that it becomes like.
What's your name, sir?
Moshe.
Moshe, where I pray, there's a lot of sobs happening in that moment. Get a ticket somewhere else this year.
I'm going to your shul.
The Vakasha? Shmuel, you want to hook him up? The Vakasha. By Svima Zilberberg, the house is shaking, everyone's crying. I used to think crying was the holiest thing. Now I think not crying is the holiest thing. And next year I could think something different. Everyone has a different avoda. Everyone has different meaning. But don't Chazal say it's crying, but don't the people say it's chuvilah, but don't people say... Find something that works for you. But I've never, ever, ever, ever heard anyone say, please stop sobbing under your talis. Enough with the emotion, young man. It's Rosh Hashanah. It's Rosh, Seichel, intellectual today. I've never... The most litvish place I've davened in. I've davened in a few. They've never come. No, sorry, Gemara learning during the shofar. I've never heard anyone even begin on that. It's Mefurish Chazal. Chazal says explicitly it's like the crying. Here we go. So we're going to begin. You ready? Now, quickly. There's 4 steps that we're going to focus on for the elevation Hachana. Here it goes. I'm going to tell you the basic 4 steps, and you don't have to remember this. I'm going to talk you through it in real time, but I'm just going to tell you what they are. Most of you have done it, and if you want to write this down, some of you have it on your sheet. It says Hachana Basics. Hi to the people online. Hi to all of you out there. If you can hear me, give a like or give a love or give something right now, just so I can see that you're out there. I know there's about 5 or 6 or 10 second delay in there. So imagine I said that 10 seconds ago and like it straight away. The elevation of Hachana goes like this. Number 1, everything. Here they come. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Wow, I got a rose. How do you even do that? That's very impressive. Everything I'm doing is explicitly written in Kabbalistic and Hasidic texts. Okay? Even though I sometimes put it in a modern language, it's all there. Some of the words are there. There's on the back of your sheet, you'll see one text that I put down a couple of weeks ago, though I'm really doing from many, many different sources. But my goal is everything's 100% Torah. That doesn't mean you can't also find it outside in the world, but I won't also use it unless it's explicitly in detail. Not hinted to, but explicitly references the technique in Torah. But that's for another time. The first state is Yishuv. That's what we call soulful breathing. Right? The Yishuv is not soulful breathing, it's just one way to achieve that. And that's just a nice, cool way of saying we have to silence the noise in our mind. And the way we do that is cycle breathing of 5. And that means we're going to inhale over 5. We're going to hold our breath for 5. A count of 5. I'm going to be counting out loud. And we're going to exhale for 5. And then we're going to hold our breath for 5. And then we're going to inhale for 5. I'm going to do that for about 2+ minutes. You got that? I don't even think we need to do a demo. It's pretty easy and you can handle it. I have to say this out loud to be responsible, even though it's so funny, but I know people do it. Rabbi, what happens if I'm up to counting 3.5 and you've already run out of breath? The answer is God says even if you suffocate, you can't at all, whatever you do. Then breathe. You'll be fine. Will the experience still work for me? Yes, it'll still work for you, okay? If you can't hold your breath any longer, breathe. That's my Kabbalistic wisdom for you for today. Okay, very important. And catch up or don't catch up, it's totally fine. Any of these may or may not work for you. Whatever you define as, it's working. Oh, it's not working. Now I'm frustrated. Many of them will not work and you'll still get to the destination. Okay? Remember, the biggest block to having a spiritual experience is the desire to have a spiritual experience. The desire, I must have it. If I don't have it, I'm depressed. And if I do have it, I'm valuable. All of these things, my friends, are just ego. If you say, I don't really care, but I do really care, okay, just exploring. You may not get it tonight, and you'll take the techniques and you'll get it tomorrow morning, or they'll open up Rosh Hashanah for you. So you're just exploring and playing. But you'll find if thoughts come in and distract you, or something is annoying in your head, you'll find that itself will not break it. But if you get upset and frustrated that you're distracted, and that takes you down, that itself may break it. So if you see it's not quote-unquote working, nothing's happening, then just go, okay, that's cool. I'll look forward to the next part, and then we'll see what happens. Good. Circular breathing of 5. The second thing is called the Sulam Ha'aliyah, the ladder of ascent. Now I'm making this super easy for you. What we're going to be doing, and we're going to try this, practice this right now, just very, very fast. And even if you practice it before, practice it again. This is my little smart way of warming you up without dropping you in. And it just warms your mind up slowly. What we're going to do is simply the following thing. We're going to count from 1 to 10. I think you can handle that. When we count to 1 to 10, we're going to count each number 3 times slowly before we go up to the next number. So it sounds like 1, 1, 1. And then I'm going to go 2, 2, 2. I'm going to do that all the way up to 10. But there's one other element. I want you to imagine that this is a ladder like the Sulam Yaakov, with the feet on the ground and the top in heavens, with Hashem looking over it. There's a ladder that connects heaven to earth. And at the top of the ladder, at the bottom of the ladder is you and your mind in this room, in your body, with all the stuff right now. And at the top of the ladder is infinite light and infinite love and infinite connection. It's the Or Ein Sof, it's Yud and A and Vav and Hey. It's peace and freedom and connection and clarity and wisdom. The most beautiful, infinite, magical experience you can imagine. And what you're going to do is you're going to go 1, 1, 1. And then after you said 1, 1, 1, you're just going to imagine taking a step up the ladder. If you like to see things, see yourself taking a step up the ladder. If you like to just feel elevated, just imagine just a little elevation, a little opening. And then go again, 2, 2, 2. And just like, And you keep going and going and going. If it happens to be I don't stop you and you get to 10, then you can just chill out at the top of the ladder and enjoy yourself. Or go to 11. Is there 11? There's also 11. There's a very, very big ladder, let me tell you. Which number has gone on? 13. But not on 14. Then he takes an intermission. He comes back on 15 with a guest band at 14. Keep going, higher and higher and higher and higher. Now, for those who consider themselves advanced, if you are not advanced enough to do this comfortably, do not do it. Then you can do the real thing, which I got this from, which is go into the world of Atzilus, and rather than counting 1 to 10, go Malchus, Malchus, Malchus. Then Yesod, all the way up to Keta, and just ascends one at a time, with all the kavanas connected to them, whatever you know about that, and just move up slowly, slowly. If you've read one Aryeh Kaplan book and you're not quite sure what those things mean, please, I promise you it's amazing how high you can get just by counting the numbers, just by knowing you're ascending. It's all how you frame it in something called Das Elyon. One thing to hold in mind, don't try and have a spiritual ladder climbing experience. I'm up to 4 and the ecstasy drug hasn't kicked in yet, okay? If thinking of trying to reach the top of the ladder and trying to get that magic is blocking you, I just want you to say, no, this is a parable for climbing an actual ladder. And I just want you to climb the ladder and not try and do anything. Trust that Hashem knows how to bring you up. You don't have to do the magic, let him do the magic. Let's just close your eyes and practice that right now. In your own time, I want you to start at 1, each number 3 times. Allow your body to relax a little. We'll begin the climb. Go in your own time. If you get a little distracted, then visualize the numbers made with light. But don't try too hard. Even that takes too much energy, so don't really bother with it. Starting at 1, going up to 10. Go. Slowly opening and elevating, releasing and elevating, higher and higher, higher and higher. More free, more open, more light comes in. More free and open to a greater light, to a greater love, infinite love. Or just climb a ladder. It's totally fine as well. Beautiful. If there's any light there, just fall back into it. Put your head back into it. If not, just keep climbing. Don't try too hard. The neshama does the magic all by itself when it needs to. Okay, take a deep breath and open your eyes. Hands up if something nice happened in there for you. Hands up high. Okay? It's very interesting. And if it was just like climbing a ladder, nothing more than that. Great. Thank you. Hold in mind when we do it again, there'll be other things going on within it. We'll see what happens. Next, my friends. Epic holy love. If everyone has a pen and paper, I want you to choose the following 3 things. 3 is enough for tonight. If you've done 4 or 5 with us previously, you're welcome to fill it in. But I just want the minimum necessary to take people to the place tonight. I want you to choose one specific memory right now. One specific memory of a moment that you remember in your life where you felt tremendous love towards somebody or tremendous love from somebody. Not somebody who you later got divorced from and now you feel resentful every time you think about them. Something easy and pure. A very specific memory, not a person in general, but a specific time and place where you felt clean, open, incredible love. Choose it. Remember the details. Where were you? What time of day? What was it they said? What was the look in their eyes? What was their body language? Raise your hand when you've got it. Great. Next. Doing an abridged version right now. Kedusha. I want you to think of one moment in your life right now when you felt tremendous Kedusha, Helakai, tremendous holiness. Could be at the Western Wall, Kever Rachel, in Uman by Rav Nachman, or the Baal Shem Tov. Could be a Shabbos or a Yontif. Could be by a Tzaddik, a great spiritual master. Yes, I have to say it every time because someone asked me, what if it was high on drugs? Then even then, not that I know what drugs are, what it means to get high, but theoretically speaking, use any reference point in your life of higher connection where you felt it in your kishkes, in your body, in your soul as a reality. I want you to choose the specific time, location, place. Where were you? What were you wearing? What time of day was it? Choose it specifically. Hands up if you've got it. Fine. So you've got one love, one holiness. Finally, epic, awesome nature. One moment in your life when you were hiking through a valley and suddenly it opened up to a massive river. When you're on top of a mountain, you could see the curve of the earth of the ocean. When you're in the desert and there were more stars in the sky than you ever imagined possible. I want you to think right now of a very, very specific time and place where you were shocked and awed and astonished by how epic and extraordinary the world is, how huge and expansive, magnificent it could be. Choose it. Hands up if you got it. Okay, everybody, remember the loved one. Remember the loved one? Good. Remember the holy one? Remember the loved one? Remember the holy one? Remember the epic natural one?
What if you don't have a holy one?
Then go out and come back to us in a few months when you get one. We'll wait for you. Then choose another love moment. And if you open your heart enough tonight, you'll have a holy one after this evening by the time we're all done. So here we go. You got the holy one? You got the loved one? Great. This is what I want you to do. Close your eyes, sit up straight, uncross your arms and your legs. I want you to spend 5 to 10 seconds visualizing, feeling, going into the details of the love. Everything about it. What does it look like? Make the colors vivid and rich. What does it smell? What are all my senses seeing, smell, taste, hearing? Remember it like it's reality. Watch it like it's a movie. When you get to the end, rewind it and watch it again. Go back and forward, connect to it. At the end of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds, stop from the love and go to the holiness. Where were you? Where were you standing? What was the feeling? What was the sensation? You ready? And you go through that 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. Before you get distracted, stop and jump to epic, awesome nature. Where was I? How was it like? If another one similar comes in, you can go to that, then come back to the first one. Enjoy it, connect to it. When you get to the end of epic holy nature, come back to love and do that again. And then after the love, the holy one. And after that, nature, love, holy nature. Keep going round and round. Visualize it, experience it, increase the emotion of it, and just go round and round and round. I want you to show you, even if you're ADHD, you have perfect concentration right now because of this technique. You ready? Close your eyes and try it right now. open your heart to experience the bliss and beauty of all of them. And it may happen that they all start to come together. Don't try and make them come together. There's a feeling connected to all of them that's bigger than any individual experience. But don't push it, just enjoy each one for now. If you can feel a little of the feeling that connects them all, that the love is really a feeling of holiness. That moment was given to you by God Himself. The love, epic nature was designed to evoke awe within you. Hashem created that so you would feel how awesome life is. Love and holiness, they're all the same. Or it's all the same. The place where they come from is all the same. Take a breath and open your eyes. Don't want to pull you out of that, such a nice place so early, but you'll have more time to explore in a second. Hands up, something special happened in there for you. Hands up high, let's see. Okay. Is anyone surprised by how long they can concentrate doing that? Anyone surprised? Great, that's worth the price of admission, whether or not you pay to get in. That's an exercise called the Rikuz HaMachshava. We'll come back to that in Elevation. People want to check out elevation.global, elevationproject.global. In a few weeks, we'll be offering extensive programs like these all online. You can sign up there in the email if you want to get updates about when the programs all launch. The last thing I want you to do right now, just close your eyes. As the Baal Shem Tov teaches, as the Sefer Charedim teaches, imagine Hashem's light is above you right now. Take all that light.